This is the Farm Monitor. For over 50 years, your source for agribusiness news and features from around the Southeast and across the country, focusing on one of the nation's top industries, agriculture. The Farm Monitor is produced by one of the largest general farm organizations, the Georgia Farm Bureau. Now here are your hosts, Ray DeLessio and Kenny Bergamy.
Well, hey there, good to see you again. Kenny B flying solo this week while Ray is on assignment. However, we will hear from him in just a bit. So with that in mind, let's take a look at what we have in store for you. Coming up, a frosty surprise threatens Georgia's iconic peach crop. Find out why this year's harvest is more crucial than ever and how growers are gearing up for success despite last year's setback. From wildfire nuisances to foreign land ownership, legislative action heats up under the Gold Dome in Atlanta with ag issues taking the spotlight. Plus, get ready for a fresh take on egg rolls. That's right, egg rolls, as Ray and Tracy bring cabbage to the forefront in this month's Meals from the Field segment. These stories and so much more starting right now on the Farm Monitor. Coming off their shortest peach crop in more than 3 decades, Georgia's peach growers are hard at work getting their orchards ready for a critical 2024 season. Damon Jones gives you an update on this year's progress and why all the preparation going on right now is so vital.
Typically, this is the scene at peach processing plants across Georgia in May, as the state is responsible for more than 130 million pounds of peaches each year. However, that was not the case in 2023, as a late freeze cut that number by more than 90%. That makes this year's crop more important than ever, and so far, Mother Nature has cooperated.
It's a very important year, very important year. Hopefully years like last year is extremely rare. It was 30 years before that since we've had such a drastic peach crop, but hopefully, this year so far so good. The weather's been good, and let's just hope that continues. In terms of chill this year, we're pretty close to 800, and looking at some other models, dynamic models, the equivalency is even more than that. So we're pretty happy so far, and right now we just want it to stay cool and not have a lot of hot weather and force those blooms out, because once it warms up, the trees will be blooming.
However, that is not the main concern right now, as the process of pruning these trees is officially underway. And while it might be an overlooked step in the process, it's no less important as it paves the way for a successful crop.
You want to have plenty of space. One is sunlight. You want to cut out some of the limbs that are in the middle to allow for the sunlight to come in. Some of it's just dead wood. It's in the way. It's problematic, and also the shape of the tree. You don't want the peaches too high or too low, so when you do come in and harvest, it's efficient. So it's really kind of the best and most efficient way to kind of shape that tree and to eliminate some of the excess wood and peaches on that tree.
That job is even more difficult this year, as the lack of peach growth last season has resulted in some early challenges.
There wasn't a big crop of peaches, so a lot of that growth went into the tree, and so probably a little bit more wood on the tree than maybe you would want, so a little bit bigger pruning job this year. But overall, the trees look healthy, and looking forward to this crop year.
Pruning is just the first of many steps involved with producing the state's signature fruit, and the majority of those are done before the buds even start to bloom.
From basically the beginning of the year up until harvest, tremendous amount of activity. We're out here, we're pruning the trees, getting them ready soon to fertilize them, probably in the next 3 weeks to a month. And then thinning will start, and that'll be your biggest pre-harvest expense. So when the trees are maybe between the size of a nickel and a quarter, you'll come out and remove those excess peaches. Maybe there's 800 or 1,000 little tiny peaches on the tree, and maybe you want 300 or 400 on the tree. And so you're really reducing a significant amount of the peaches on the tree, so that the ones that remain will size and be large, and that's what the consumer's looking for.
Reporting from Crawford County, I'm Damon Jones for the Farm Monitor.
Meantime, Georgia Farm Bureau once again showcasing its remarkable strength as hundreds of members gathered in Atlanta for the annual GFB Day at the Capitol. This event stands out as the pinnacle of Georgia Farm Bureau's efforts, providing a unique opportunity for members to directly engage with state officials and advocate for the agricultural industry.
Some of the priority issues that we talk about are important to the guy that's got an acre of strawberries or 1,000 acres of cotton. Either way, it makes a difference on what we do. So today, when you get this many people, members, coming to one group effort to meet with the senators and representatives, it makes a huge difference, and it also shows Farm Bureau's local grassroots strength that we talk about all the time.
Well, can you believe it? We're only a few days away from March, meaning we're halfway through this year's legislative session, but it hasn't been without its fair share of debates, especially when it comes to bills focusing on agriculture. John Holcomb has more from the state capitol.
In Atlanta, legislators are hard at work under the Gold Dome as they've officially passed the halfway mark, chugging along towards sine die. This year, just like any year, ag is a big topic of discussion, as there are a number of issues being debated. One issue is regarding wildlife nuisance, an issue that's been causing farmers and producers all over the state a lot of grief the last few years, such as feral hogs, vultures, and in more recent years, white-tailed deer.
Wildlife nuisance has definitely been something that farmers have experienced for a long time across all commodities. It kind of depends what commodity you're talking about, which wildlife, it tends to be the nuisance, right? Feral hogs, wild pigs, that tend to be the first thing that comes to people's mind when they think of wildlife nuisance, but also black vultures and cattle. There's whatever it might be, there tends to be some kind of wildlife that affects daily farming operation. But however, when the issue arises when, like the feral hog situation, the damage that the farmer is occurring due to wildlife nuisance is just unsustainable. And kind of the new wildlife nuisance we've seen in this front is white-tailed deer. So deer have been impacting our row crop farmers specifically, and specifically cotton farmers, very, very substantially the past few years.
According to Bellflower, the damage being caused by deer keeps getting worse, as a survey conducted last fall showed that a large percentage of those surveyed continue to see increased damage to their crops from deer every year.
We surveyed roughly 350 farmers across the state to kind of get their input on deer nuisance. And one of the big findings we had of that survey was 90% of the people surveyed said year after year, over the past 5 years, deer nuisance has gotten worse. And out of those 10% who did not say it was gotten worse, they said it stayed the same. So over the past 5 years, no farmer had experienced a decrease in wildlife nuisance from deer, which is pretty substantial and very eye-opening to the issues.
Another issue this legislative session is regarding the foreign ownership of land, an issue Bellflower says is a matter of food security, as it will keep countries that are designated as foreign adversaries from owning land used for production agriculture.
Basically what this bill does is it seeks to ensure that our farmland that we use, our productive farmland to produce the food, the fiber, the shelter that Georgians and Americans rely on, is protected from those who are adversarial to our country, who maybe don't have the same beliefs as us, maybe don't have the same desires for us. Maybe they don't want to see our country flourish the same way we would like to see our country flourish, right? And that's been a lot of the motivation for this legislation from the legislator and the General Assembly and other interested parties has been we recognize that these nations are not friendly to us, and we do not want these nations who are not friendly to us getting a grip on some of our productive farmland and the resources we use to feed and clothe our people.
You can keep up with these issues and learn more about others by going to gfb.org. Reporting in Atlanta for the Farm Monitor, I'm John Holcomb.
So, are you ready for a fresh take on cabbage? Then keep it here, because after the break, Ray and Tracy have a surprising twist and innovative approach to this special veggie.
John Snider is a crop physiologist and professor in the Department of Crop and Soil Sciences on the University of Georgia Tifton campus. He received his bachelor's degree in biology from Henderson State University, a Master of Science degree in biology from the University of Central Arkansas, and a doctorate in crop, soil, and environmental sciences from the University of Arkansas. After working as a postdoctoral researcher with the U.S. Department of Agriculture's Agricultural Research Service, he joined CAES in 2012 as an assistant professor and was promoted to full professor in 2023. His research focuses on characterizing physiological responses to yield-limiting abiotic stresses, identifying management strategies that improve water use efficiency, and identifying traits associated with improvements in seedling vigor for cotton, the most widely planted row crop in Georgia. He has published 106 peer-reviewed research articles and obtained more than $6.3 million in extramural, competitive grants, and industry support for his program. In recognition of his research accomplishments, Snider received the 2015 Young Cotton Physiologist of the Year Award at the Belt-Wide Cotton Conferences. He teaches multiple classes, has maintained an active graduate student program, and is heavily involved in professional service. Snider served as conference chair and steering committee member at the Belt-Wide Cotton Conferences and as division chair in the Crop Science Society of America. He was recently elected as his division's board representative within the Crop Science Society of America. He has also served as an associate editor for the journals Crop Science, Crop, Forage, and Turfgrass Management, and Field Crops Research. Congratulations to John Snider, winner of the 2023 D.W. Brooks Award for Excellence in Research.
All right, another Meals from the Field off and running. Joining me as always, a person who has so many titles. Nutrition expert, professor, all the things. Yep. So suffice it to say, Dr. Tracy Brigman from UGA. Good to see you again, Tracy.
Good to be here.
Yeah, so many titles it would take us the whole show to name them all. But again, good to see you. And today we're doing something that really doesn't get a lot of attention all the time, usually only in March around St. Patrick's Day,
right.
And that's cabbage. But cabbage is such a good thing, and you've got some great recipes.
I do. It's a great cruciferous vegetable, healthy for you. So we're going to start off with your traditional southern fried cabbage.
Okay.
So I started by taking 6 slices of bacon and sauteing those till they were done. I always use thick cut bacon because if you're going to do bacon, that's right. So I cooked the bacon ahead of time, and then I reserved 2 tablespoons of bacon grease for the pan because I want to make sure I have some fat in there to saute the cabbage in. After that, I put in a cup of chopped onions, and I sauteed those till they were just slightly translucent. Then we put in a 1.5 pounds of chopped cabbage, so you can see they're pretty good size, but bite size, and a tablespoon of chopped garlic. So a lot of times you use minced garlic. In this case, I use chopped because garlic's pretty delicate, and I don't want it to burn, so I wanted those larger pieces. Okay. I sauteed this for 10 minutes, so you can see it's kind of starting to cook down, and it's
soft, yeah.
Little soft, starting to get translucent. Once it's cooked down for 10 minutes, I'm going to add 1/3 cup of chicken stock. So if you want to add that chicken stock to the pan.
Audience participation.
That's
here.
right. Okay, get a little bit more moisture, and it helps deglaze the bottom of the pan and get all that good flavor.
Bacon now?
And they're not yet. So I have that, and then I have my teaspoon of seasoned salt.
Salt.
I'm gonna mix that in as well, give it just a little bit more flavor. And then you can cook this for up to 10 minutes longer on medium heat. Essentially, you want to cook it till it's the desired texture that you want. Some people like a little bit of crunch to it. Some people want it completely done. So up to 10 minutes more like this. And you want the chicken broth to get soaked up, and so it's not so juicy. Once that's done with the 10 minutes, I don't want to put all that in. Well, I guess you can. You can. So after it's your desired texture, you're going to put the cooked chopped bacon in.
Okay.
Doesn't want to stay.
No, there we go. Get all that out of there.
Yeah, we got to get the good bacon in there.
All right.
I'm going to mix that in, and then this is optional. Red pepper, so it's a pinch. If you want more heat to it.
Are we putting it in there or no?
I like it, but I would not put the whole thing in.
All right, so we'll just put a little
a pinch. Yes.
There we go.
Just give it a little bit of heat and just mix that in, and you are good to go. You have a nice stir-fried cabbage that goes great with mashed potatoes, corned beef. It's a great side.
That's it for that recipe?
That's it for that recipe. Super
See?
simple.
Quick and easy. All right, so we move on to recipe number 2.
So recipe number 2 is egg roll in a bowl. So the first thing that we do with egg roll in a bowl is we have to make the sauce that goes on it. So we're going to start with that. I start with 1.5 cups of water. So we're going to put that in this small pot over here.
And you can buy this anywhere, right?
I can buy that anywhere.
Okay, all right.
I picked it up on my way in today. That is a 1/4 cup of rice vinegar.
Okay.
And then we're going to go with 1.5 tablespoons of fish sauce.
Fish.
Ooh, that's potent. Then 3 tablespoons of sugar. 1 large clove of garlic chopped. Minced, chopped. Yep. That is a teaspoon of kosher salt. And then a pinch.
Ooh.
A pinch of crushed red. You like that red pepper?
I know. Good Lord.
So I'm going to heat this over medium heat until the sugar and the salt dissolves.
Okay.
And then I set it aside and let it cool to room temperature. All right, so our sauce is cooling to room temperature, so we're going to move on to the egg roll mixture.
Okay.
What I have in this pan here is 1 tablespoon of sesame oil and then a pound of ground pork. And I cooked it until it's nice and browned, no pink left. Now I want to add the seasonings. So we're going to start with 3 large cloves of garlic.
Garlic?
Yum. And then 1/4 cup of peeled minced ginger. Next is 2 tablespoons of soy sauce.
Soy sauce.
Followed by 1/2 teaspoon of black pepper.
Black pepper.
And then 1 teaspoon of sugar.
The whole thing?
The whole thing. I don't think I have any more pinches. Okay, so I'm just gonna mix that up until my seasonings are well mixed into my ground pork. And once that is well mixed in, we start adding the vegetables. So you'll see I have 2 large bowls of cabbage. So that is, yum, that is 5 cups of shredded cabbage.
So correction, this is an extra bowl that we had, so we won't use this. So just
Right.
1 bowl.
Right, so, but still 5 cups.
That was like 10 cups,
yes,
right?
Yes,
Okay.
so this was 5 cups.
All right, we'll put that
We
over
only
here
want, I don't have a pan big enough for all of that.
I was gonna say.
So yeah, so this is 5 cups of shredded cabbage. So you
Okay.
can see it's nicely shredded. And then I'm gonna add 1 cup of shredded carrots.
You sure?
I am sure. That is 1 cup of shredded carrots. And these are, I don't know what you want to call them, adult carrots, not baby carrots. So I like using the full-grown carrots. They're sweeter, they have more flavor. Plus, when you're shredding them, those small ones, your finger gets close to the grater so many times. And with this, I have a lot more room to not hurt myself. I'm just going to mix this in, and it's going to saute maybe 2 to 3 minutes, because I want it to still be a little bit crunchy. If you think about an egg roll, the cabbage and the carrots still have a little bit of crunch. So once I have it stirred in really well, I'm gonna let it saute. I'm making a mess. I'm gonna let it saute for 2 to 3 minutes. Once it's finished sauteing for 2 to 3 minutes, I'm going to top it off with a tablespoon of rice vinegar. Just add that to the top. And you have your egg roll in a bowl. So then all we have to do is assemble it.
And as a disclaimer, folks, if I can do it, you can do it as well. That's why we've made everything simple for you just by logging on to farm-monitor.com, going up to the very top of the recipe section. Tracy sends those recipes in every single month. They're listed out in detail. I can follow them. So can you.
That's right.
Tracy, as always, I cannot thank you enough.
It's fun.
Great recipes, and I'm sure we'll be enjoying these. And again, yeah, give cabbage some love too.
That's
so.
right. That's right. Cabbage is good.
So we'll see you next month, and we will see you next month for another edition of Meals from the Field.
After the break, unlocking the profit potential and the power of Holstein cows in the ever-growing beef on dairy trend. Well, finally this week, it's simple economics. A shrinking national beef herd plus growing consumer demand means a strong cattle market. For the nation's dairy cattle producers, this means great opportunity to breed for beef on dairy crosses. Holstein Association USA's Bob Cervera shares insight into this growing trend.
With the nation's beef cow herd inventory the smallest it's been since the 1960s, the beef industry needs more cattle to keep up with consumer demand, and it needs them fast. John Meyer, CEO of Holstein Association USA, says the registered Holstein cow has provided value to the beef industry for a long time, and she plays an even greater role in today's growing beef on dairy trends.
Some of the very early research on this and substantiated research shows how important the Holstein cow is to the beef supply in this country. And I learned and saw statistical information that shows the best beef in all of the different tests that they have is actually a straight Holstein cow.
By crossing Holstein cows with beef breeds, many dairy farmers can achieve high choice or even prime grading animals. That results in significant profit potential. But a profit on that line of thinking can go even further.
If people want to start developing a new profit center on their dairy, where they're actually raising some of these animals and feeding them themselves, so that that cow spends all of its time on that farm its entire life until it goes to harvest, where everything is controllable.
Dr. Dale Warner is an animal science professor at Texas Tech University. He says benefits from beef on dairy programs go both ways, especially while the beef industry recovers from drought-forced liquidation.
The beef on dairy crosses are definitely needed by both the dairy and beef industries today. Of course, the dairy industry benefiting for producing a more profitable calf from those cows, and the beef industry is in a predicament now because the beef cow herd has shrunk.
Beef on dairy crosses simply make cattle operations more efficient, and that translates to more profit.
Utilizing an alternative animal to the traditional straight red dairy animal improves feed efficiency in the feedlot, produces more beef at the end of the day with heavier carcass weights and higher red meat yields.
The professor says the added information and genomic data that comes with U.S. registered Holsteins is also a major benefit.
The beef industry has never experienced this amount of information coming in with the cattle that are coming into feedlots and the harvest environment. The ability to use genomics and genomic testing in order to better select animals for things like carcass merit, growth potential, feed efficiency, marbling ability, other carcass traits like ribeye area and indicators of muscling is something that we've never had before.
Continued development and efforts like Holstein Association USA's Wholesome program, which offers sire recommendations when breeding registered Holsteins with Sim Angus bulls, could also help keep generations of family farms in the family. And the real advantage goes to registered Holstein breeders.
Any way you slice it, Holstein has to be in the mix when it comes to the beef on dairy business, and I think those opportunities are going to be really, really good as we go forward.
For Holstein Association USA, I'm Bob Cervera.
Bob, thanks so much, and thank you for spending time with us here at the Farm Monitor. For everyone at the show, I'm Kenny Burgamy saying take care, stay safe, and we'll see you next time right here on the Farm Monitor. Have a great week.